Okay, please forgive how I'm kind of cut off awkwardly. I want the audio to be the best in this one, since I've always struggled with it being too quiet. I think this time I have the mic close to my face and where it should be. So, my body's a bit cut off here. Oh well. That's the way it's gonna be. So, this video is going to be a talk on me explaining how I plan for my campaigns with my friends, or with anyone really, before there's any characters or any semblance of an organization to something happening. Additionally, I'll provide some tips and advice on how to get started crafting your own great campaign for your players. I will make this as system agnostic as possible because I believe it's important to use the system that works best with what type of game you want to play. If you find this video helpful or enjoyable, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already for more content. This summer I will be temporarily unemployed, so I'm hoping to put out more content, so stay tuned. One last thing, if you do have any specific questions that I did not cover, please ask them in the comments. I may respond or I may not, and if I don't respond, it's because I'm going to answer them in a follow-up video. Starting out, there are so many different ways of getting started, and this is going to be unique to you and your situation and kind of what you want. I have a kind of a list here of some potential ways that you might get started to start to plan a campaign. One of them is you might have heard of a specific adventure book or campaign setting that looks interesting to you. Could be Curse of Strahd, or Ghost of Saltmarsh, or something involving the Feywild maybe. Perhaps you bought a new tabletop system, you've read some of it, and you're kind of excited to run it now. Recently I picked up Symbaroum, which is a really cool setting and system that I want to give it a shot. Maybe you've checked out Blades in the Dark, or the recently upcoming Coyote and Crow setting. You could have read a book or played a game and thought, this would be a really cool RPG setting to run a game in. Perhaps it was maybe the Dark Souls series, so you watched Pirates of the Caribbean, or watched Game of Thrones, whatever it might be. Some sort of media has inspired you to craft a campaign that you want to play D&D in, or play a different RPG setting in. All in all, the key is that you, as the GM, are excited to experience this adventure with some players. You are inspired by something to get a group together and start playing. There are many reasons that might arise for why, but again, the key is that it's what you want to do. If you show enthusiasm and spirit, your players will be drawn to this and will hopefully participate in a similar fashion. One recommendation I do want to make is the idea of a blended approach. You can definitely pick up an adventure book or a module and run it. There is no shame in that, and there is no shame in doing all homebrew either. A nice way to get started is to go with a book of something that interests you, and generally, they will do a lot of the legwork that will free you up to do the creative stuff, like make adjustments or add in things that are unique to your players and your story. The pitch. Now, in order for a game to actually happen, you need to attract the attention of some players. You need to effectively communicate some key aspects of your game quickly and effectively. What you want to do is accomplish these two things with this pitch. One, you want to have a group that will be enthusiastic and committed to the game that you want to run. And two, you want the players to be aware of the type of game they're committing to. As for the key aspects that you want to share, I believe these are the most important and fit into a framework that I've created based on Matt Colville's campaign pitch video. The link will be in the doobly-doo.
I linked to in the doobly-doo, by the way.
I've adjusted it for my own purposes, and I call it the campaign snapshot. It's for a player to look at and quickly get an understanding of what the heck this campaign is going to be. All right, behold the campaign snapshot to my left, but to my right, which is not there. So here I have listed everything that I need to show about the campaign. It also helps me to get to plan it as well and get a sense of what the game is going to be about. So first off is the system, which in this case is D&D 5th edition for the Ghost of Saltmarsh campaign that I'm going to run soon. This system will be dependent on the type of game you want to run, and always consider that. Don't always try to just homebrew 5e or homebrew other games. There are ones out there that will fit what you want. Trust me, there's a lot out there. The next is the genre. So this might be kind of larger thematic elements that will kind of encompass everything. So within this, it's going to be an open world and it's going to be swashbuckling. So there's going to be some action kind of set pieces, and there's also going to be some open world traveling moving throughout the region. If this was within a city, I might call it urban intrigue would be the genre. So we're going to be in a city and it's going to be focused on intrigue. Usually I keep this to about 2 words just to kind of really nail down exactly what I want it to be. Now the themes are going to be specific themes within the genre. So within this, there's going to be scoundrels, piracy, seafaring, factions, grey morality, exploration, and anything else I can think of. So that kind of gets the vibe of the campaign. The next 4 bits are going to be kind of sliders as to how a typical campaign session will probably run. So in this one, for example, there's going to be a medium amount of combat, a medium amount of exploration, a medium amount of lore, and a medium amount of role-playing. Oy. So, any given game, this will probably be about middle of the road. If this was that urban intrigue campaign, I would say that the combat would be low, the exploration would also be low, but the lore and the role-playing might be high or medium high depending, because there's probably going to be more social encounters, more kind of investigating, searching for things, that sort of thing. Those can be sliders just to kind of let your players know kind of what the vibe is of this game. If this is a strict dungeon crawl, combat would be high, exploration would be high, role-playing would probably be low, for example. Now the touchstones is something that I've taken from Blades in the Dark that I really, really like, and essentially what it is just pieces of media or books, shows, video games, music even, anything you can think of that reflects the vibe of the campaign that you're going to be running. So I have Pirates of the Caribbean, Assassin's Creed Black Flag, with a bit of Game of Thrones in there for that kind of intrigue bits, and the vibe of it is more so that kind of grittier kind of tone. I also have Firefly in there because I finally watched it and I really liked the kind of the crew elements, the episodic nature of it, and I don't know, it was just really great. So I threw that in there because I kind of liked that vibe, that kind of episodic nature of it. Now below this snapshot on my document, I would probably have a bunch of detailed setting information about the storyline, kind of the state of the world, to also help the players to understand what's kind of going on in the setting and the story. And on this document included as well would be character creation information, homebrew rules, whatever else you need would be on there, as long as this document is kept to about 1 page. I usually have this snapshot at the top, and then below I've listed some more detailed information for the players to kind of digest and get a grasp of. Make it concise, short, and really powerful. That's what I would recommend. Step 3 is the session 0. So with you, the GM, and the players now on the same page, you can host a session 0 for the players to now reply in this dialogue. You have communicated your intent and interest in the game, and now the players can get the chance to do the same. There's a lot of guides out there, a lot of videos to explain what exactly to do in session 0. I might do a video on this in the future, but by and large, the primary purpose of it is so that everybody can be on the same page and to open a line of communication. It can be jarring for both the players and the DM to have misaligned expectations when going into the game. What I like to do is have 2 or 3 key guiding questions for each of the players about their characters in order to get a better sense of what they want and to learn more about their characters in general. This can help me to tie them together as a collective, and this can also help the players to express what they want, and also so that they can bridge connections between one another. This will help to make the group more cohesive instead of them all meeting themselves as strangers or being confused, and just to kind of skip past that whole kind of awkward phase. I personally like to do that, where I just skip past that. I mean, some people like doing that, but I've just found it to be just super awkward. I go talk to the dwarf over there. Hello, dwarf. We're already here at the same table. We all know we're here for the game. Let's just find a way to make that make sense and just kind of hand wave that so we don't have to spend an hour coming up with a way for them to be together when they can just be together and we can skip past that. That's just my personal preference. You can do whatever you want to do. Finally, I like to communicate how long I expect the campaign to run for. For example, this is going to run for 10 sessions until summer is over, only for the winter time. They're all valid timelines. It's really important to have a rough idea for your players to know how long they have to be committed to this game. If you want it to never end, then by all means keep it going. For reference, I ran Curse of Strahd, and that took about 28 4-hour sessions. This timeline will be definitely different depending on how you run the game, how long you play, and how many sessions you can have in a month. In summary, your third step in crafting your campaign is to get the input of your players and include them in the process of forming the story that you and them want to experience together. Games tend to falter when one or more of the partners in this social contract have confused expectations or have made some decisions in isolation. This is a group effort to ensure that everyone at the table enjoys their time together. Hopefully you didn't hear my stomach just growl.
Ah yes, the bane of every group, scheduling.
Scheduling with adult humans is probably one of the most frustrating and challenging aspects of role-playing games. It's not learning the rules, it's not rolling dice, it's not doing math, it is scheduling a time to play. And there's no really easy solution for this. What I've found historically in my own experience is a couple of effective tactics to improve the likelihood that the game will continue, but sometimes, despite everything that happens, real life takes over and people have to step away, whatever happens. Hopefully these strategies will help it to survive. The first one is consistency. I like to determine how often the group would like to get together. Typically games are weekly, twice a month, or once a month even. You'll have to adjust your sessions accordingly, but that's a whole other topic of session design. I like weekly or twice a month just for continuity and to actually get things done. If you're kind of doing sort of a one-shotty style, once a month is fine, but if you're trying to have a cohesive story, it's much, much easier for the players to keep track of that and be involved if it's weekly or once every 2 weeks. Anything more than that, and people can tend to forget what's happening, they get confused, they're like, who's my character again? Things like that. Regardless of what you decide, select a day that works ideally for everyone and stick to that day. It's really tough for people to schedule in things when they're changing. It's always shifting. Every week you're like, hey, what day do you want to play on? It makes it that much more harder just to get things done. Once that day becomes routine though, it is much easier for folks to commit and to stay on schedule. For about 3 years we had a group where every single Wednesday we played, and that was just the way it was. Every Wednesday we played. I have another group that's been going for about 2 years now-ish, that we played every second Tuesday, and that's it. Maybe we missed one because somebody had to go, but always, hey, game next Tuesday? Yep, that's what it is. Always that day. The next thing that kind of helps with groups staying alive is to figure out, as a GM or a DM, what your ideal group size is, and then figure out what your maximum size is. For me, my ideal is 4, but I can go up to 6 or 7. I try to gather enough players to hit that maximum always. This way, and this is my secret, if 1 or 2 people can't make it, that's fine. I just keep going anyway. I just run the game anyway. But the main thing that you want to do is communicate that you're going to do this. So say, hey, I'm going to have 6 of you, but if 1 or 2 people miss, I'm going to keep going. Because you as the GM put in time and effort and you want to have this happen, but you want them to have fun too, right? So you kind of have to, it's a give and take. You want to accommodate everybody as best as you can, but you also have to think for yourself. Think about yourself. Like for me, I want to get this campaign done. I maybe want to get on with my life, or I have another cool idea that I want to do, but I want to finish this off with them. So just say, hey, I want to get this done. I'm going to push forward. Just make sure they know and that they're aware of it. Usually you'll tell them this in session 0, not necessarily way down the line. Alright, in summary, what you want to do is follow these 4 things when you're trying to get your campaign started. You want to start it out in the right way with the right intent. You want to provide a pitch to communicate the game to your players. You want to definitely have a session 0 so that this dialogue can be opened up between you and the players to communicate freely and to get expectations set properly. And the final thing is scheduling and finding a day, keeping that consistent, and making sure that you stick to that, as well as having enough players to actually keep the game going. Those are my 4 recommendations for starting up a campaign. Not necessarily writing it, not necessarily designing sessions, but just the meta, getting it ready to go. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I hope it's been helpful for you. If you enjoyed it, please leave a like. If you have any questions or comments, leave one of those bad boys in the down below section. And I hope you have a fantastic day or night, whatever it might be. And I hope you are happy, healthy, and alive. I will see you soon for more video content. Thank you.